Alright, it is Sunday, June 7th. This is the weekly market weather report. Let me remind you what I've got here on my screen. So I've got the chart for SPY pulled up year to date, and this dotted yellow line is the 3 EMA. The yellow line is the 13 EMA. The light blue line is the 55 EMA, and the dark blue line is the 233 EMA. And this first indicator is the Fib EMA trend stack, and it's just counting how many of these 5 EMAs are, it's counting if they're in the correct order or not. When it's a 10 out of 10, you have the 3 above the 13, above the 55, above the 233. And so you can see right now it's at a 7 out of 10. This short-term momentum indicator is measuring the RSI with a 13-period look back of the 13 EMA minus the 55 EMA, and then subtracting 50 so that it ranges between negative 50 and 50. And the long-term momentum indicator is RSI at a 55-period look back of the 55 EMA minus the 233 EMA, and again subtracting 50 at the end to normalize it between negative 50 and 50. So I'd like to go and give an overview of the market. So here, starting with the SPY, we did have a big down day across the board pretty much on Friday. A lot of stocks pulled back. The S&P was down 2.5% on Friday. It had been trending above the 13 EMA for quite a while, and has fallen below there. I would like to turn on some other EMAs that are in that range to see how far it pulled back. So I'm going to turn on the 21. It'll be a dotted light blue line, and the 34 will be a little bit of a thinner light blue line, just so we can kind of see as we go through these charts and compare one to another. So the SPY did fall below the 21 EMA, but it's holding above the 34 EMA. Short-term momentum fading, but hasn't turned red yet. Next, the equal-weighted S&P 500 RSP. Not quite as bad. You can see it only pulled back to the 13. The trend stack is still 9 out of 10. Momentum just faded a little. The NASDAQ composite pulled back all the way to the 34 EMA. Trend stack at a 7 out of 10. Short-term momentum just barely holding on to green. The NASDAQ 100 QQQ holding above the 34 but below the 21. Trend stack at a 7 out of 10. Momentum holding on to green. QQQ equal weight closed right at the 21 EMA, so again the equal weight version not quite as bad. The Magnificent 7 pulled all the way back to the 55, and the short-term momentum it turned red on Thursday and is staying red. So these mega caps are struggling more than the overall market. The Dow Jones holding above the 13, so it's looking much better than the other indexes. Trend still at a 9 out of 10. The mid caps closed right at the 21 EMA. Small caps, IWM holding above the 34 EMA. Momentum still holding green. The IBD 50, these are the growth stocks. They got hit really hard, pulled back all the way to the 55 EMA. And the volatility index, the VIX, spiked on Friday above 20. It said closed at a 21.51. It's very high volatility, especially considering as of Thursday it was at closed at 15.4, and then by Friday afternoon was at 21.51. So quite a big volatility spike here. We can see the short-term momentum turned to green. So this week we would like to see that cool down. Now let's take a look at, and so also notice I did color code all of these tickers. The blue means dark green, so most of the indexes are dark green short-term momentum, except for the mags, which have turned to red. Now let's look at the 11 spider sector ETFs, and we'll start with XLP. And let me turn off these extra EMAs now. I'm going to turn off the 21 and the 34 and just keep our standard ones on there. So XLP, it had an up day on Friday. We think of the consumer staples as a place where people go to hide when the market is pulling back. So we can see the short-term momentum did turn to light red. Trend stack still at a 6 out of 10 though. XLRE, the real estate sector, we got trend alignment 10 out of 10. Short-term momentum turning to light red. So we can see if it will. It's been in this base for several weeks here. See if it will finally break up out of there. XLU, the utility sector, 6 out of 10 on the trend. Just barely above the 233 EMA. Healthcare sector, trying to break out, or it has broke out above this level here. 10 out of 10 on the trend. Short-term momentum, bright green. This is the healthiest looking sector at the moment. Financials, XLF, 9 out of 10 on the trend stack. Trying to see if it can break up out of the space. XLI, the industrials, 9 out of 10 on the trend stack. Momentum has been kind of flat. It hasn't gone either way here lately. So even on the long-term momentum, we can see it's been very flat here. So see if it will finally decide to break above. XLK got hit 6.66% on Friday. Fell below the 13. Let's turn that on for this one, see if it fell below the 34 or not. Just below the 21 EMA is where it closed. Trend stack fell to 8 out of 10. Short-term momentum still green but fading. Materials, XLB. 7 out of 10 on the trend stack. I'll get this back. Okay. Short-term momentum, dark red. Energy, XLE. 7 out of 10 on the trend stack. Short-term momentum, dark red. Discretionary sector, XLY. Falling all the way back to the 233 EMA. Trend stack, 4 out of 10. Momentum, dark red. And the communication sector, XLC. Below the 233 EMA. Trend stack at a 3 out of 10. And momentum is dark red. So that's it for the 11 sectors. Let's look at some other assets. The dollar starting to rise. We got 9 out of 10 on the trend and short-term momentum, bright green. And let's look at the 10-year Treasury yield. This is part of the reason for why stocks fell on Friday. We had the TNX coming up above the short-term moving averages there. 10 out of 10 on the trend stack. If this continues, then we could see more weakness in equities. And I've also added USO here. This is the United States Oil Fund ETF. It did not rise on Friday. It's the short-term momentum is dark red. Trend stack 7 out of 10. Gold falling back to the 233 EMA. Silver similar. Copper was trying to get going and fell below the 55 EMA on Friday. And Bitcoin coming down to these February lows. This was the low back in February at 59,000. Here on Sunday, we're at least Saturday and Sunday, at least we're seeing a little bit of a bounce. It did come all the way back down below that low a little bit on Friday, and so it'll be interesting to follow, see if this is going to be the bottom for Bitcoin or if it's going to continue lower. All right, so that's the overview of how the market is doing for this week, and I'll come back again next Sunday, give another overview.